Hey guys, welcome back. Joe here again, scalefreak.com, coming to bring you another Thoughts On video. This Thoughts On is, it's interestingly enough, because it's a topic that I discuss every single day when I'm speaking with my clients, when I'm selling them cars. And that is a kind of the appropriation of funds, or what do you find value in enough to spend money on. And the reason why I thought about this one is actually right now, I'm going through, you can't tell this, I record this on my iPad. Right now my iPad's naked. I've had my iPad now for a little over a year, and I maybe 3 times in its entire life has it been out of its case. So this one here, I've got a nice OtterBox 4-piece case. Basically, paid like $100 for this thing, or a little over $100, just to make sure that I got a screen protector and that it's I'm not going to call it waterproof, but definitely splash resistant, and got a little stand and stuff included with it. It's been an absolutely amazing case, but for me, it was no questions asked to pay $100 to protect a $1,000 device, 10% of it to basically make sure that every time I drop it, it's going to be okay, and my screen doesn't get scratched, and stuff like that. But then I have absolutely no concern doing that. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other things I could have spent that money on that would have been better use, but for me, that's a pretty good investment to protect this thing here. But yet, throughout the day, I sell cars all day. I could sell somebody a $40,000 car, and they don't want to get a $1,000 warranty to add on to it to help protect it for 2, 3, 4, 5 more years, depending on how long they want to take a warranty for. It's kind of funny how that works, because we all have a lot of money to spend, well, we all have a lot of things to spend money on. As adults, most of us, there are responsibilities that we have in order to make things easier for us on our daily life. And it's funny enough that I find myself spending money on the dumbest things in the whole world. Like the fact that the other day, I had absolutely no problem going to the store next door to buy myself a $10 bottle of Buckley's, when I could have hopped in the car and went and bought 3 bottles for that price if I had just taken a trip like 3 blocks down the road. But it was just convenient for me to go next door to a convenience store and grab it. The biggest thing was what if I didn't do that? Okay, I would have coughed a few more times. But the funny thing is chilling out on iTunes. A couple videos you guys have seen that I've been just completely hooked on Macklemore lately, and I mean, this is an independent artist who obviously needs the money. But funny enough is that it's an album that I listen to nonstop from YouTube. So I'm streaming it from my cell phone. I'm jacking up my data rates, because here in Canada we pay stupid amounts of money for data. So I'm jacking up my data rate, and goofy enough that I had to like guess for 3 days. I'm looking on iTunes going, do I pay $11 and do I buy this album? I mean, I know he's an independent artist and he needs my money, and this music is absolutely amazing, and I get completely jacked in the gym, and it puts me in such a great mood all the time. You know, do I buy this album and do I have it forever for $11? $11. God, the sub that I ate for lunch was $8. Like, oh, you know what? So I finally did it, and really, I was like, I can't believe I actually had to sit on that for that long. I mean, in the past week, I bet you I've been on the RC4WD site 3 or 4 times a day just looking at parts that I want to buy that I do not need. I'm looking at Vanquish axles, RC4WD D44 axles, GCM racing axles. Why? I've got like 10 sets of full-built axles. I don't need axles. I don't need anything RC. But I'm more than willing to spend my money on those rather than anything, really. I mean, I'm sure I've got some bills to pay. I'm sure I probably have a credit card I can put the money back onto. But for some reason, I just feel the need to spend that money on really, really dumb stuff and not buy the appropriate, correct stuff. So it's funny enough when you think about it. I want you to sit back and think for 30 seconds and think about, what have you bought in the past month that really you had almost no use for, but you had absolutely no question about buying. I'm going to, boom, slam the money down on this. But you had to make a tough decision on something else that just made sense. Logically, it just made sense to be able to buy that product, but you didn't. Or maybe you did, but after some length of thought, yet there's other things that you had absolutely no problem throwing money away on. Royal Bank is my bank. I actually went through, and if I log on to my online banking portal, they actually have this little tracker on the bottom that shows you everything that you're spending your money on, and it's like a pie chart and stuff like that. And I literally want to bang my head on the desk. I purposely don't scroll down that far because it will actually segment everything that I spend my money on through my bank account into a category, and it's ridiculous how much money I spend on really, really dumb stuff. And again, sometimes I struggle to spend money on things that make sense. Anyway, the moral of the story is I kind of want you to think about the idea of what have you been spending your money on, and what are your thoughts on what you're spending your money on. When it comes down to it, I mean, we've built such a consumer culture, such a humongous consumer culture. Credit cards and debt are out of control with the idea that you can pay for it today and one day you'll pay it back, whatever. But in the meantime, someone's going to try to sell you something different, so that money never makes it back. You know, I've been fortunate enough this year. My wife has been off this year on mat leave, and she's been paying very close attention to the financing and the banking and making sure everything got covered. She's been amazing this year with getting everything back on track again. But it's amazing when we take a look at it and we say, well, we spent all this money on this stuff and it's all gone. The money's not there and the things are gone. And we spent so much money on restaurants and Subway was a bad one. And eating out and just random goofy stuff. And you look around in your house and you're like, wow, there's a lot of clutter in here. And you're like, oh, this is all random crap that we never needed that we bought just because. Still guilty of it. I mean, I was in a store the other day, and there were Star Trek glasses. I don't need them. I have cupboards full of glasses. I have so many glasses, like drinking glasses, in the house that I really probably should throw them out. I went to go clear my closet out last night because I was like, oh my God, I got so many clothes. I don't know what to do with all this stuff. Goodwill must need some of this stuff. And then I'm going through my stuff, and I'm like, I have so many Shirt Punch and T-Fury t-shirts that I've never worn. But I felt the need to buy them because they had some kind of geek thing on them, and I'm a big nerd, so I love that stuff. And I'm literally going through everything saying, I can't believe I spent all my money on this stuff when there are definitely more important things in the world that could have used that $10 per t-shirt. So, my thoughts on that are basically that I think as a culture in North America, we spend a lot of money on really stupid stuff, and we have absolutely no justification for it. But yet, the things that are probably most important, we're really hesitant to spend the cash on. The things that probably give us the most return on investment or possibly require some amount of work, we don't want to spend the money on. Selling cars all day, in the past year, I've actually been very, very blown away by the amount of people that come in here and literally have cash, that they're buying a $40,000 or $50,000 car in cash. You know, they were responsible with their money. They're not paying interest payments. They were putting the money away, making investments. The smart thing, next thing you know, a few years later, they've got $40,000 or $50,000 sitting in an account that they can buy a car, and they're good for 10 years on a Honda, and they don't have to pay interest on it. They're not, you know, they've saved up. They knew this day was going to come, and they were responsible about it. But yet, a lot of people have to finance the cars as well because, you know, or people get denied on their credit because they've got some blips because they weren't able to pay for some things because they spent the money on something else. It's scary when you see throughout the years the rise. The States has always been, as long as I can remember, you know, more than half the population in the U.S. pays more per month than they can bring in. It's unfortunate, and I'm not sure how we got into that situation. Canada is becoming the same thing. Canada is actually getting to the point now where the average Canadian, well, not average, I think it's something like 52% of the Canadians or something like that, are having to pay out each month between interest and principal payments more money per month than they are able to bring as an income. Maybe it's also the fact that we're taxed 25 to 30% depending on how much money you make. It's absolutely ridiculous when you look at how much money you make. Look at your T4 or your pay stub at the end of the year and see how much you made and how much you paid for taxes. It's amazing how we lose you know, over a third of our paycheck, and then we pay the rest to 13% tax here in Ontario. So that's kind of my thoughts on that, is basically how it all goes together and exactly what we're doing with the cash, how we're spending it, whether it makes any sense, or whether it doesn't even matter. Some people just say, it's my money, I'll do whatever I want with it. Some people say, man, I really should be putting this somewhere else. But, you know, kind of thoughts, what are your thoughts on that? Those are my thoughts on it. Post below what you think about the subject, whether you're one of the responsible people who are stacking the money away, or whether you're people who say, you know what, I live for today, and whatever, I'll pay the bill when it comes in tomorrow. For me, I know there's a lot of things changing right now. Working in a commission job, your perspective changes quite a bit when it comes to money today and no money next week. So post below what your thoughts on the whole topic are. I'd love to hear about it. Of course, click the like button. Click subscribe if you have not already. If you have, I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And share this throughout your community if you know anybody else who has any thoughts on this matter as well. Just remember that these types of videos, my thoughts on video, I'm not posting throughout the RC communities. They're very loosely based on RC, so I'm not going to pepper them all over the place. You'll only find them if you're subscribed to my channel. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching again. Have yourself a great afternoon, and thanks for watching.